we're live. Now I just gotta figure out where's the chat. There's the chat. Because we'll get, our normal trolls on
Mhm.
TikTok. Or not TikTok, YouTube. Anyway, hi Mark.
I do.
It's been a while, huh?
It has.
Well, at least a while since it was just you and I having a chat.
Or even just a while since we had a podcast, I guess, right? It's been.
No, we did one last week.
No. No, we didn't.
Oh no, I was in Atlanta last week. That's right, it was the week before.
Yes.
So let's talk about Atlanta, Mark. You ever
Yeah,
been up to
so.
Mad Monster Party?
The what?
Have you ever been up to that con Mad Monster Party?
No.
So
Nope.
it's a lot of the same people that are slated to be at Spookala.
That's spooky.
No, not so much spooky.
Well, yeah.
Who?
The people that I want to meet that you met just because you wanted to annoy me by meeting them first, even though you don't even.
Oh, that's right, because the Reanimator cast is going to be at Spooky. Yes.
Right.
But it's cool. It was cool because when I walked up to Barbara Crampton, she's like, "I know you from somewhere." And I said, "No, I don't think you do." She's like, "I haven't met you before." I said, "No." And then I said, "The funny thing is, my buddy Mark is constantly giving me shit about never having seen Reanimator. And I'm getting your signature before he does."
Right.
And she's like, "Do you want to ask me any questions about it?" I said, "No, because I've never seen it. But can we talk about Beyond the Gates?"
So, going to a convention, as we all know, takes a lot of money, right?
It
To
does.
go meet these people. But I feel you spend that money just to irritate me.
That is not true. I did actually go up there with the horror movie convention was an aside, really. It was just a chance for me to travel. I haven't traveled a whole lot in the last 15 years. So it gave me an opportunity to get out of Florida for a little bit. The horror.
Why would you want to leave Florida?
But I did get to meet Barbara Crampton and Jeffrey Combs. I had Jeffrey Combs sign a picture from The Frighteners because I loved him in that film. And I told him flat out, "You play the best psycho I've ever seen on film, and it's great. Like, you just have so much fun."
So begs the question, what else have you seen him in?
I honestly think that's about it, to be honest. I recognize his face, so I know I've seen him in other smaller parts, but nothing where he's been like a headliner. But the most fun I had was trying to talk to, oh my God, why can't I remember his last name? The mustache, Tom
Atkins.
Thank you. His
What
last
have
name.
you seen Tom Atkins in?
Halloween 3.
And?
Night of the Creeps. Night of the Creeps. What else? I forget what. That's all I remember off the top of my head. But I will say this: he did tell us that his favorite film that he ever made was Night of the Creeps.
Did you ask him about the ninth configuration?
So let's talk about asking him questions, shall we? Okay. Tom Atkins is 89 years old, and he is completely deaf now.
What?
So I tried to speak to him. However, his handler informed me that he can't hear. He's got to be watching you, or you have to write down your questions. So we didn't get to interact a whole lot.
That's like that weird old convention I went to, Tampa Bay Screams.
Yeah.
When I'd lost my voice, and then people like being interviewed on up on a stage, and they're really loud. I'm trying to like ask people, hi. They're like, what?
Yeah. But he had a great sense of humor about it because we went to the panel to see him and Adrienne Barbeau talk about The Fog. And he looked at the guy that was doing the interviews and he goes, "Did you think I was joking when I asked you to write these down? Because I don't understand a word you're saying."
Wait, have you seen The Fog?
Yes, I have. I actually bought the 4K Steelbook.
So there's another one.
And then I got to meet somebody that I already love because I met her for the first time when you and I went to Spooky.
Oh, you met Jennifer Carpenter?
Dee Wallace.
Yeah, I know. We've already met her.
However, I was not going to get her signature again. My buddy Dave, our buddy Dave was in line to get her signature, but she had these handmade clay figures that she was selling. So I bought a handmade werewolf from The Howling. and she autographed it for me.
Is this after you stalked her in the elevator?
Yes, yes, it was.
Okay, so she's probably just like, yeah, here, have one of these, please.
Yeah, pretty
Just
much. Here, pay
go,
for one of these, and
leave
I'll
me
sign it
alone.
for you. Yeah. um, but it was overall, it was a really fun convention. I had a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
You saw my pictures, right? I found some really cool figures.
Mm-hmm.
Like I got a life-size replica of the baby from It's Alive.
Yep.
I got a larger than life or larger than on-screen version of the creatures from the gate.
Mm-hmm.
And what else did I get? I think that the rat from Dead Alive that turns the mom into a zombie.
It's the monkey rat.
Hello, Karen. Yes, the monkey rat. Mm-hmm.
Very cool, but I got a duck cosplaying as Slimer from the Ghostbusters.
I have a duck cosplaying as Reagan back here, and I have a duck cosplaying as Freddy and Jason and Chucky.
Yeah, where'd you get it from? I got from Five Below.
I got mine from Temu. Well, the duck, the Ghostbusters duck and the Exorcist duck I got at Walmart, believe it or not. They're called Tubsurcist. Or no, Tubs. And that one is called the Tubsurcist. And then the Stay Tubbed Marshmallow Man or something. I don't know. But anyway, that's beside the point. You had something you wanted to talk about. What did you want to talk about?
So, Jim, you always try, and there's a lot of deflection and projection about me not doing any research.
Ah, yes. Mm-hmm.
So I texted you the other day and thought, hey, it might be interesting because we never talk about non-horror movies. So I have no idea. Even when we meet in real life, we don't really talk about non-horror movies.
Correct.
So I figured, the whole ABCs of horror is going on right now. But
yes.
It might be interesting to do it with non-horror movies.
That's going to be hard, buddy.
Well, I did give you enough time to think about it, right?
You did. However, I will remind you, I've been working 15, 16-hour days. I haven't really had a whole lot.
That is not my problem.
Thank you, corporate America. Anyway.
You're lucky you're still hired.
I know, right? Anyway, so let's see. We'll start. So you want to start? Let's go with A. What do you got?
Sure. I was telling you, it was kind of weird for me because, and I love all sorts of different movies, right? But anytime I started thinking of a letter, it would just be like all the horror movies.
Yeah, that's exactly the same thing. I was thinking about this earlier today, and I'm like, I can't think of anything non-horror.
And it's funny. So I've got one, but a bunch of other ones I just want to mention. And as it goes through, I got less and less. Because anyway.
Well, let me start with A then, because I have one in mind.
Okay.
So, American History X. I love that fucking movie.
That is on my secondary list of.
I think it is absolutely an amazing case study in how one person can change.
Yes, I mean I think it's so well done, and I love Avery Brooks.
I like Ed Norton. I think he's a phenomenal actor
as the principal. Obviously, most people have known from Star Trek. Deep Space Nine.
Yep.
But he's the sort of person that you would love. Hey, if you were down, to give you some sort of motivational speech. He just got that kind of
sort of like Morgan Freeman in Lean on Me.
Yeah, even more so, I think. He's got very serious, but hey, get your shit together.
Right, fair enough.
But American History X, yes, I think it is really, really. I mean, it did it win any Oscars?
I don't know off the top of my head.
But it certainly got some sort of award somewhere. I'm sure.
Yeah, and then I think wasn't Edward Furlong was the younger brother.
Yep. And he's very good in it too. So yep.
So what was your A?
All right. So Avengers: Infinity War.
Ugh. I'm not a superhero fan. You know that though.
Right. So, just as a culmination of 20 years of superhero movies that I
Yeah.
never thought I'd get the chance to witness so many great ones
Right.
and bring all of these cast of characters together. I'd already read the comics, so I kind of knew the ending of it,
Right.
which, and I watched it with my wife, my son, whatever, and I asked my son like, "So, what do you think of it?" And he's like, "I didn't like it." Like, why? He's like, they're all dead.
That's
Like, don't you worry
sort of the
about it.
point, right?
Like, don't you worry about it. But I mean, it's nonstop action from start to finish. I think Robert Downey Jr. really grounds that cinematic universe. So I'm glad to see him back as Doctor Doom.
I was
Uh,
just going to ask you, what do you think of him coming back as Doctor Doom?
I think it's a genius move. I think the MCU has been floundering for a little bit, so to get him back in, I think probably makes sense for them. And again, if it's the Russo brothers doing it, I think they're the best directors within that series, no doubt.
Okay.
So other ones, Akira.
Haven't seen it.
So this is very very much like one of those gateway movies for Western audiences to get into like Japanese anime and manga type thing. And Akira is just awesome. Avengement.
I never heard of that one.
Scott Adkins. So it's a martial arts movie.
Ah,
Um, Here's a weird one. Robert Redford in All Is Lost.
I'm not familiar.
So this is a movie where, and it's from like I don't know, maybe 5 years ago. So he's in his 80s probably, and it's a story about a guy sailing solo across the Atlantic. I think it is.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
So I do know. I'm familiar with the movie. I just not have not
yeah,
seen it. Okay.
I just really love that movie.
Yeah, of
Um,
course,
One of the best comedy movies ever made, Airplane.
of course, of course. Amazing film.
Arrival.
Oh, Jodie Foster. Oh, or
No,
no, that's Amy Adams.
correct.
It's
Which
Contact.
I think, yeah, which I think, there's a lot of these movies that are on my list which affect me kind of emotionally.
Yeah.
Um, and I think Arrival is one of those ones where it's just like, it's just got the whole humans are fucking stupid, right?
Yep.
This is what they do
Yep.
in this situation, but then it has the whole time thing, which, it's hard to wrap your head around, which I like to.
Yeah.
Assault on Precinct 13, the original John Carpenter.
Never seen it.
Which is his kind of somewhat remake of Rio Grande. He was a big Howard Hawks fan. And American History X. That was
Yeah,
my list.
I agree with that one. Okay, so Boondock Saints is my B. The
Didn't
the
like
amount you didn't like it? Why did you just think it didn't accurately portray Irish people?
it. I don't know. There was just something about it which I just didn't like.
I'll be honest, it's not my normal type of movie, but I thought that the blend of comedy and just absolute misadventure worked perfectly.
Yeah, I don't know. Just something rubbed me the wrong way about that movie, and I'm not a big fan of what's his face from Walking Dead. Um, he was one of the brothers.
So Sean
Da-
Patrick Flannery
no,
and
Daryl from Walking Dead, right?
oh right. What's it? Norman Reedus.
Yeah, not a big fan of his. Um,
That's really the only thing I really enjoyed him in, to be honest.
yeah, like the kind of like mumbling thing doesn't do it for me.
The mom was probably the most genius part of that entire movie. She was
Uh,
hysterical. And then when they shot the cat.
I don't even. Yeah, I just remember watching it a long time ago when it came out. And like, not for me.
Yeah,
Didn't like it. Okay, so for B, I have, and this is where I think like one of the most difficult genres or one of the most subjective ones
Yeah.
is comedy,
Yes.
and I've got a very specific sense of humor. So, movie I love is Borat.
Yeah, that one's not high on my list.
It's again, I think it's probably more of a British sense of humor because
I mean,
I used to watch
do like
Ali
British
G and
comedy.
all that sort of stuff.
You know,
Um,
I don't really. I think it's more the comedian. Like I just don't really connect well with Sacha Baron Cohen in
mm,
general. So I don't know that it was a subject matter or the type of humor. It's really the performer that I'm not a huge fan of.
Yeah, it's like the satirical like whole
Dude, there's a
aspect
sequel to
of
that, right?
there's what?
There's a
Yes.
sequel to that. That I
Yeah,
enjoyed. I did not enjoy the first one.
I thought the sequel was a bit of a letdown, but I think it's hard to recreate that.
Fair enough.
Because once you get so famous, it's hard to go out there and like, hey, people already know your character. So,
Right.
um, but Borat, okay. So also on my list of Bs, and this will not be the first Spencer Tracy movie or last Spencer Tracy movie on here. Bad Day at Black Rock.
Not seen it. Not a huge Spencer Tracy fan.
Also, Robert Redford appears once again, and Brubaker.
You know, I don't know if it's because I only saw that movie recently, like maybe 5 years ago at the most.
Mhm.
It didn't hit that well for me.
I mean the concept. I believe it's based on a true story,
It is.
right?
Yeah.
Um, I kind of found the second half a little bit not as good as the first half,
Yeah.
but just him going in there and him like figuring out, hey, this is this is a terrible place. But I
Yeah.
kind of feel like in the second half there should have been a little bit more people being fired by him that
Right.
were doing this, but you know. Okay, Black Hawk Down.
Not seen it.
Um, this is uh, a movie that has a section in it which made me feel queasy,
Oh,
and I
was it because
think
of the heights?
the what?
Was it because of heights? Black Hawk is a
Oh
helicopter.
no. Well, it's not a spoiler, and you haven't seen it. So basically, one of the American soldiers gets shot in the like inner thigh, and basically it severed his artery. And he's still awake. They can't put him under or anything.
Right.
But they're like, we have to get this artery in his leg, and we have to clamp it shut. So
Right.
you all need to hold him down, and they're in there with their tweezers, like
Oh,
trying to pull out this artery, and it slips out, and
Jesus.
and that actually happened to a guy, one of the guys. So that's like a true life thing. So that
Wow.
made me feel queasy.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But it's a great movie. Great.
That's from '94, right?
Yeah, it's what do you call him? That very famous director that directed Alien,
Ridley Scott.
Ridley Scott. Yeah. So obviously it looks great, but also it's acted well. It's true story ish, right?
Yeah. I mean,
Really good.
it's a military drama, right? So
It's
it
it's an
makes
action.
some intel-
It's a war action movie for the
Yeah.
most part. One of the very few quote unquote musicals I like is the Blues Brothers.
Interesting. Not seen it.
You've not seen the Blues Brothers. What is wrong with you?
Just not my thing. I'm not a big Jim Belushi fan. I do
Well,
like Dan Aykroyd though.
I think you should watch it.
I
I
might
think
check
it's
it out.
fun. And even like the type of music isn't the sort of music I like,
Yeah.
but I really like the music in it. So,
Is it jazz?
yeah. It's actually Norwegian black metal. It's the Norwegian black metal brothers.
Gotcha.
Oh, that's a good idea. Should
That
do
is.
that.
Yeah, you should.
Them just driving around forests, lighting churches on fire, and
Right.
Big Trouble in Little China.
Love that movie. Absolutely love it.
Bloodsport. Probably Jean Claude Van Damme's best
I might have seen it
um,
once.
movie,
Yeah.
and also one of the best satirical type movies, Black Dynamite.
Have not seen it.
Oh, I mean, it just does the whole black exploitation
Right.
thing just so perfectly. It's so funny.
Yeah, I see. I want to go back to when I think about that. I think about like The Blackening, but that's horror, and we're not supposed to be talking about horror.
Yeah, shut your horror mouth. Okay, C.
You go first because I'm having trouble.
Okay, so this is just my favorites, and some of my other ones that I'm going to list are probably objectively better.
Okay.
But this movie really set Arnold Schwarzenegger on the map, and it's Commando.
Yeah. You know what's
Um,
funny? The first movie that came to mind was Cobra.
and this was the whole thing, right? This kind of started the uh, Stallone Schwarzenegger type thing where they were like, oh, who's better, like a
Yeah.
better action star. But I think Commando's it's not as bad. Like Predator is my favorite movie of his, but I think Commando, is
It's
my favorite C movie.
Yeah, that's fair. You know what? The reason that Cobra got me, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember Alyssa Milano playing Sylvester Stallone's daughter.
No, that's in Commando.
No, in Cobra.
No, I think that's Commando.
Is it? Okay, then maybe I'm conflating the two then
Yeah, maybe.
in my mind because it's been a long time since I've seen it. But that's neither here nor there, I suppose. Um,
Just go through my other choices. Clockwork Orange.
Good film. I've seen it once.
Yeah, it is kind of a one-time watch for me too.
Yeah.
Um, I just like how experimental it was,
Yeah.
and just kind of how weird and out there it was
Right.
with with everything about it, the direction, the acting, obviously the story, just very unconventional.
So
Community.
hang on.
Yep.
For anybody that's just coming on to watch, I just wanted to let you guys know we're talking about our favorite non-horror movies today because this is a subject Mark and I never speak about. Anyway, go ahead, Mark.
Okay, and some of these are going to be horror adjacent, or you can, I tried to stay away from that as much as possible,
Yeah,
but
of course.
yeah, Communion.
I have not seen the movie. The book was amazing.
The movie is super weird,
Is it?
and I love how Whitley Strieber is all like, yeah, this really happened to me, man, and blah 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 blah, and then he turned around and was like, nah, I just made it up. Children of Man.
I've not seen that one.
Clash of the Titans, the original one.
One of my mother's favorite movies. I'm not a huge fan.
Is it because there's boobies in it?
No, the claymation never just sat well with me in general.
Well, it's Ray Harryhausen, and it was stop motion. It's not claymation.
You know what I mean? It just
You don't
the
like Ray Harryhausen stuff, like Jason the Argonauts and
not no, I don't. Mm-mm. My mother loves it, but it's just not. I'm not a fan.
uh,
Sinbad was never
yeah,
a fan.
Cube.
Love Cube, but to me that would technically be horror in my
It,
opinion. But
it's
it could also skirt the line, right? It could just be sci-fi.
right. Yeah,
But
I mean, if you look at the horror elements of it, it's just occasionally when people die, you could say that's horror-ish, and
yeah,
maybe the antagonist is, you could say he's a bit of a psycho.
right.
But I think if I was to generalize it, it would be sci-fi, psychological, and then maybe a bit of horror.
Yeah, like sci-fi thriller. Yeah,
Next one up, an oldie but a goodie, the original Alistair Sim, A Christmas Carol.
that's a good one.
Um, like I don't think there's been many great actors, including one of your favorites, George
Don't
C.
even
Scott,
bring him up.
who played
Ebenezer
Scrooge, but I don't think anybody's topped him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, C.
Okay.
Did you bring up one?
Yeah, no, not so much. I honestly just don't have a good option for C. I do have a good option for D though, but it's
Okay,
one, and
go ahead.
it's in the thriller vein. I have two actually. My number one is going to be starring Goldie Hawn, and it's not a very well known movie. It's called Deceived, where where her husband fakes his own death, and she thinks he's dead, but then she starts to see clues that he may not be, so she goes looking for him.
Hmm.
It's a very, very well done thriller. It was a huge change from anything I'd seen Goldie Hawn in when I saw it. And I think
Right.
it's from 94, 96. But it's so well done.
Huh. I'll have to
The
keep an
other,
eye out for that one.
yeah, my other one would be Dead Calm with Nicole Kidman. It's the first Nicole Kidman film I'd ever seen, and I thought she was amazing. Her and Billy Zane.
Yeah. I watched it once a long time ago.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Okay. For mine, Dredd.
Mm.
And that's like Judge Dredd, not the Clive Barker's Dredd, but I like that one too.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
So I grew up reading 2000 AD, which is the comic book that Judge Dredd's in.
Okay.
And even though the Stallone one got actually some elements perfectly from a comic book,
Yeah.
like his Dredd is not Dredd. Carl Urban absolutely nailed it.
I've not seen the Carl Urban version. I do love him as an actor, though. But I did love the Stallone version.
Yeah, I figured you might. Fucking Rob Schneider could fuck way
Right.
off. Okay, also on my list.
Hey, FSA.
Hello. Both the original Dune and the new Dune movies. I love
Dune, not a fan.
Book.
Yeah.
Huh?
Not a fan.
I think you either have to go with that. I'm honestly a little shocked that so many, it was the second one was, I think it won an Oscar.
Yeah, it did.
Because the source material is probably for a very specific audience, and
yes,
maybe it's like a Lord of the Rings thing for some people too, right?
I think it kind of is. You have to really be into that epic storytelling, right? It's not a you're going to get this in an hour and a half.
Right. Well, yeah, and I think knowing the source material can both help and hurt some audience members, because you'll be like, well, both of them missed like a very important like dinner scene.
Yep.
But some people will be like, well, this crap, whatever.
It's sort of like what they did with the Dark Tower, right? They've tried it twice, and both times it's failed miserably. But it's because they're trying to cram 7 books into, or no, has it only been once?
Did they do 2 of them?
Well, they did the Idris Elba one. I thought there was one before that. I could be wrong. But either way, they crammed 2 books that are, 700 pages apiece into a 2-hour film, and you just can't do that.
Yeah.
You lose too much of the story, and it really negatively affects it.
And that's why for the original Dune, they changed like a whole bunch of it. They kept a lot of it, but like there's some very important plot points where they're just like, he came up, he's like, oh, I'll just kind of put my own thoughts in there just to make it workable for an hour and a half movie.
Yep. And that's the issue I had with the Dark Tower, right? Is they smashed 2 books together, and at the end of the second book, the protagonist from the first book is supposed to die. And he didn't in the movie. And that bothers me. I think Idris Elba was a great choice to play Roland, but I just don't think they did it justice with the film.
Yeah. I don't know. I've never read the books, and I've never seen the movie. So
I tried to read the book series 3 times, and I couldn't get through it. But I could. The audiobooks, I ripped through all of them.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Okay. So Clint Eastwood really made his name after the westerns with Dirty Harry.
You know my favorite Clint Eastwood movie?
Well, hopefully it's not one on my list, but
probably not. Paint Your Wagon.
Oh no. But the whole Dirty Harry series, it really captured that kind of grimy it's set in California, right? But it's got that kind of grimy 70s, almost New York thing.
So you saying that gives me a C movie.
Okay.
Cruising with Al Pacino.
Oh.
That's a great gritty crime thriller.
Yep. Which we all know about the guy from The Exorcist.
Yes, we do. But we're not talking horror, Mark.
We're not talking horror. The Dark Knight. absolutely phenomenal.
Never seen it.
Best of the series by a long way. I
Yep.
think the first Batman Begins is a little slow, a little boring, and I think Dark Knight Rises is a little too goofy.
Yeah.
But The Dark Knight's fantastic. Okay, here's a devastating documentary, Dear Zachary.
Have not seen it yet. I've heard it's awful or very hard to watch.
It there's a sucker punch in it, and it's just like devastating.
What about Doom Generation?
Huh?
What about Doom Generation?
Doom Generation?
Yeah.
What's that?
Hold on. Let me look up the synopsis so I don't get it wrong.
Is it a movie?
Yes.
Is it a documentary?
It is not. It's from '95, starring Rose McGowan. Two troubled teens pick up an adolescent drifter, Xavier Red, together. The threesome embark on a thrill ride of sex and violence.
Sounds like a lot of those movies back in the 90s, right?
Right. It's right around the time of Poison Ivy with the whole, naughty sex thriller murder
California,
thing. True Romance.
True Romance. The Natural Born Killers.
Yep.
That sort of thing.
Which I've never seen, by the way.
It's a weird movie.
Yeah.
It really is a weird movie. Okay, an absolute classic, Christmas movie, 100%, Die Hard.
Meh. I'm not a huge fan, but I don't hate the movie. It's okay.
One of the best revenge flicks, Dead Man's Shoes.
Haven't seen it.
It's fantastic. Dr. Strangelove.
Never seen it.
Oh, okay. Django Unchained.
Never seen it.
The Tarantino one?
I'm not a Tarantino fan.
What Tarantino movies have you watched?
From Dusk Till Dawn, and it pissed me off.
That's not a Tarantino movie.
Excuse me?
That is not a Tarantino movie. It's a Robert Rodriguez movie.
Who wrote it, Mark?
So is the writer always the one that gets the kudos?
No, but if the writer is also starring in the film, he gets some top billing over the director.
No, it's totally a Robert Rodriguez movie.
Disagree.
I mean, if you watch other Robert Rodriguez movies and other Tarantino movies, there's a total difference between them.
Yeah, I'm not a Tarantino fan. I can honestly say I don't think I've seen any.
So apart from, so you've never seen any of Tarantino's movies?
I'm sure I have, just not one that I can.
But you don't like them.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, I mean, this is just par for the course with you, isn't it?
I have my opinion.
You know what? I fucking hate Mozart. Have you heard any Mozart? No? Okay.
Pretty much.
It's almost like you just want to hate things because they're popular.
Yeah, I
Are
do.
You just trying to be a contrarian, Jim?
Sometimes I do. I do adopt opinions.
You're just a little attention whore, aren't you?
Sometimes, yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's move on to E then.
Oh God. You know what? Neither one of it. Well, I guess that'd be technically horror, wouldn't it?
See, you should have done your homework.
No, I was going to say neither one of us said The Descent, but I guess that's technically horror, not just action adventure. E.
But we're on the E now.
Go ahead, Mark.
Okay, so this is one of my favorite sci-fi action movies. There's a lot of sci-fi action. And there's going to be a lot of like courtroom dramas too. I've got a very strange taste. But it's Christian Bale in Equilibrium.
Have not seen it. Okay.
Which got unjustly compared to The Matrix, just because they wear the same type of clothes.
How dare they?
But this is like a 1984 type dystopian future, and Bale is fantastic, and the whole movie is fantastic. Okay.
Sorry, I thought about a movie, and I'm like, I don't even know if I can say the title.
Yeah, you can.
No, I mean without giggling. Hold on. Go ahead, continue, because I'm gonna look it up, make sure I don't have it wrong.
Okay, obviously Bruce Lee's most famous movie, Enter the Dragon, which I don't think is maybe my favorite of his, maybe like Big Boss or something. But I mean, you can't not talk about martial arts action movies without talking about Bruce Lee and Enter the Dragon.
Yep.
Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Love that film. Love it.
Again, that's one of those very emotional movies for me. And I
I'm
think
not ashamed to say that I cried during the rock scene.
The Elephant Man.
I'm not an animal.
Elephant Man it's another very like super emotional movie.
It is. It really is.
Um,
It disturbed me so much. I've only ever been able to watch it all the way through once in my entire life. John Hurt, right? Who played the Elephant Man?
Yep.
Mhm.
And it's maybe my favorite Lynch movie.
You know what?
Which
And
is weird because it's his most straightforward, I think.
It is.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything.
Fun fact about that: you know who owns John Merrick's body, or who did?
I do.
Do you now?
Well, I might have
Did you
acquired
buy
it.
it from Michael Jackson?
Michael Jackson's dead, dude. I hate to break it to you.
That is true. That is true. I said formerly. Yeah.
Oh.
So, are you done with your E's?
No.
Okay, go ahead.
Escape from New York and Escape from LA.
Never seen him.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Ex Machina.
Never seen it.
You, as a person in the tech world, should be watching Ex Machina.
If you say so.
It's all about Turing tests and all that sort of stuff.
Okay. I do love the Turing test because if you appreciate AI, think a gay atheist. Alan Turing was a gay atheist.
We're going to get onto that, but that's not the Turing test.
Yes, it is. He developed the Turing test.
No. Oh my God. No, Jim, are you drinking tonight or do you just not know?
I am drinking tonight, actually.
No, he developed the Enigma code breaking machine. The Turing test is a test on AI where it's set up to say the person doesn't think
the Turing test was developed by Alan Turing, an English mathematician and computer scientist who is considered a pioneer in the field of artificial intelligence. He proposed the test in a 1950 paper, Computing Machinery and Intelligence.
Yes, that's what I just said.
Thank you,
I thought you meant whenever he made it, like you were talking about the Enigma machine.
No.
Gotcha.
But my E film is Eating Raoul.
I have not seen that. That's what's her face is in that.
Yeah, I never remember her name, but if you watched any movies in the 90s, late 80s, early 90s, you'd know her. It's Mary Woronov.
Yes, Woronov.
Yes, I love her. She's a fantastic actress.
And yes, very big into like cult cinema.
Yes, 100%.
Okay, anything else for E?
No, not off the top of my head.
Okay. F, go ahead.
You're gonna laugh at me.
Well, what's
this is gonna be my first child's film or children's film.
Fern Gully.
Yes. 100%. That movie had such a huge impact on me when I first saw it that it's still to this day I don't have anything above that in the F category.
Okay, so for F, Forbidden Planet, one of my favorite sci-fi movies from the 50s with Leslie Nielsen, Walter Pidgeon. It's a kind of a retelling of Shakespeare's The Tempest.
Yep.
It's the first appearance of Robbie the Robot, who will go on to be in like Lost in Space and stuff. It's a really super interesting movie, which is a real throwback before actual space travel, because the crew is very much like a crew on a ship, on a boat, right? And you have like OG Wiz, and you have the cook who's like, oh, Robbie, make me some like whiskey and whatever. But it's amazing. Like visually, it's amazing. The story's amazing. It's got a really interesting monster. Um, and I'm not going to talk about kind of the twist in it, but I think it's just
I mean,
one of
it's
the
from
best
the 50s. I think we can talk about the twist.
Wow. So again, if we talked about Shakespeare's The Tempest, basically it's a starship that goes to a planet, the Forbidden Planet,
Right.
to check on some colonists there. Basically, the only people that are left is one guy who's a scientist, and his daughter who's like 18 or 20 or whatever. So there's lots of funny. The crew members trying to get with his daughter because she's never seen another guy and all this sort of stuff.
Right.
Uh, but the missing colonists were all killed by this monster, and they don't know where it came from. And the scientist guy that's living there, he doesn't know either. But it turns out that he found like alien technology on the planet, and when he goes to sleep, he basically creates this monster without knowing about it
Hmm.
to protect his daughter from the other colonists. But he doesn't know.
Right.
So yeah, excellent,
Yeah.
excellent movie. One of the again another comedy movie, Friday.
Never seen it.
Oh, Friday is so funny. It is so funny. Um, Again, this is another horror adjacent for me anyway. Fall. Um, we've talked about Fall.
We have
First Blood.
good choice. I've seen it a couple times. Not a huge Rambo fan, but it's good.
Well, again, it's not. It's obviously it's based on a book, and the other ones were just written for the movies.
Right.
But again, like if you think about action movies in the '80s, there's not another one that I can think of where the main tough guy is crying at the end.
I mean, it's a great. It deals with a lot of like PTSD stuff, right? Because he's dealing with coming
Well,
back from war. So I thought
mhm.
it's a great case study in that effect, but it's just not. I don't know.
Well,
It's
you
never
know,
been really high on my list.
well, again, it's a reflection. He's come back from Vietnam, and he's talking about, he comes back from fighting this war, which he never picked to fight, right?
Right.
People are calling him baby killer and all this sort of stuff and throwing stuff at him, and then he's like, I can't even hold down a job, but over there I could fly $1 million helicopters,
Right.
and that you know you you can't leave it behind. I think that sort of PTSD just and Stallone, gets a lot of mockery just because of that speech impediment. He's a big muscly guy, but like his acting, especially at the end, is just heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Um, Full Metal Jacket. But what I will say is a little asterisk. I only ever watched the drill sergeant part. Like the second part isn't really that interesting for me.
Yeah.
When they get to Vietnam, I don't
Fair.
know. So that's my F.
Okay. Well, F you, Mark. Let's go on to
Yep.
G.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna have to go comedy this route and go with Ghostbusters. I will watch that a million times.
You know what the funny thing for me about Ghostbusters? Like I rewatched it a number of years ago, and I did not find it anywhere as good as what I remembered.
Really?
Yeah, just because I think at that age when I watched it was the perfect age to watch it.
Fair.
I think when I rewatched it, I'm like, it doesn't really work for me anymore.
So I actually am a big fan also of the newer installments.
I've
I thought I thought they were really good. Afterlife and Frozen Empire. I had a lot of fun watching them. I know Frozen Empire especially gets a lot of hate because of the amount of nostalgia in it, but I loved it.
oh, is it if it's more than Afterlife, I will not watch it at all.
Yeah, you would
Afterlife
have
was
to.
just it. It's kind of like the Romulus thing, the alien Romulus. I'm like, holy fuck, come up with something fucking new.
Right.
Don't just have every plot point basically be the same as the movie that you're, trying to get all these member berries for.
Right. Fair enough.
It was just too much, just too much.
Yeah.
So if the Frozen Empire is worse, I'll never watch it.
Fair enough.
Okay.
What else?
So for me, we have another movie from what's his name that did Alien, which I forget. I keep on thinking George C. Scott, Ridley Scott, Gladiator.
Never seen it, believe it or not.
So I love the ancient Greek and Roman type history, even though it's not historical, apart from using Marcus Aurelius and stuff in it.
Right.
It's not historical. Whenever they came out with the Gladiator 2 and people were calling Ridley Scott out on it, and he's all like, "No, like it's fine. Just say it's not historically accurate. Like most movies aren't."
Right. Fair
It's
enough.
okay. But Gladiator is fantastic. Russell Crowe is just awesome in it. Great action. Just wonderful to see like the Colosseum as digitally recreated.
Right.
Godzilla -1.
That's a good film. Yeah.
Godzilla Final Wars, which will annoy some Godzilla fans because
Never heard of it.
it's very divisive. The Guest.
I'm thinking The Invitation, not The Guest. Is that the one with what's his name, where he goes to his ex's house? Say hi to mom.
Hi, Mom.
Hi.
It's got
Where they go to the dinner party in L.A.
no.
or the Hollywood Hills, maybe.
No. This is kind of an interloper one where a guy comes back from the army to.
Oh, it's got the cover with the guy with the backpack, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
Dan Stevens.
Yeah, I have not seen it.
He is fantastic in it.
Hold on. I need to look this up because I feel like I feel like we're talking about the same movie, but
Yep. And it's actually a Halloween movie.
okay, right. No, that one I've never seen. Yes, that is. But I've not seen it.
It is phenomenal. It is so good. Love The Guest. Okay, so here's a movie, I think from the 60s, I believe, Japanese director, but it was a English or American spoken movie called The Green Slime.
Never heard of it.
So you should watch it because a lot of what Alien is in that movie.
Huh. Okay.
And the funny thing is, the director of that from back in the 60s also directed Battle Royale.
I've not seen Battle Royale.
Right, but it's a more recent Japanese.
Yes.
So it's just interesting. The Green Room with Patrick Stewart. And Anton Yelchin.
Ah, interesting.
About a punk band that goes to play at this place. They don't realize it's like fucking Nazis, like white supremacists. They witness something, and then they have to try and get out of the place. It's really good.
Interesting.
Okay, another Spencer Tracy movie. I love Spencer Tracy. Guess who's coming to dinner?
Sidney Poitier.
Yes. An absolute classic.
Yeah.
And Goodfellas.
Don't like mob movies.
Yeah. Godfather. You wouldn't like that either.
Believe it or not, my stepdad, when I was growing up, watched. So he was deaf, but he would watch The Godfather, the entire trilogy, almost every weekend, and I hated it for that.
Yeah, that seems a little like every weekend. That seems a little weird.
Every weekend.
God Loves Uganda.
Never heard of it. What about The Gods Must Be Crazy?
Well, this is a documentary which is very disturbing about American fundamentalist Christians in Uganda. And basically, they're just sowing the seeds of killing gays and like just fuck it. It's just horrible. Okay, H.
Excuse me. I have to go with comedy again on this one.
Mm-hmm.
Going with High Spirits with Daryl Hannah and Chevy Chase and Beverly D'Angelo.
That seems a little horror adjacent to me.
Not at all, actually. It's very
I
light.
don't know. I haven't seen it.
So it's about a couple that goes to a castle. I don't remember if it's in England or in the Highlands of Scotland. I want to say the Highlands of Scotland because I
But
believe.
there's a ghost, right? There's a ghost element.
Yeah, so there are. It's a haunted castle, and one of the couple falls in love with the female ghost, and the other of the couple falls in love with the male ghost. One of them dies to become a ghost, and the other ghost takes over their body. But it's a very light comedy. It sounds a little weird, but it's a light comedy, and I love the film.
Okay.
Another honorable mention for an H is Higher Learning with Jennifer Connelly. I love that film. It's all about racism and every other ism you can think of taking place on a college campus.
So you like that?
I do. It's a very
You love a bit of racism?
no. I love the fact that it explores all of those topics. Um,
I'm just kidding, man.
Omar
Sharif?
Epps and Jennifer Connelly, Clea Duvall. It's fantastic. It's amazing. If you haven't seen it, you need to watch it. It's really well done. Oh, then we can talk about The House of Sand and Fog, another Jennifer Connelly movie with what's his name? Ben. Oh my God. Ben. He played Gandhi. Kingsley.
Mm-hmm.
Another great drama with fantastic cast. Anyway.
I should be writing these down. How many of these are from your childhood nostalgia?
Honestly, High Spirits would be one, but House of Sand and Fog came out in the early 2000s, and Higher Learning was in the early 2000s as well.
Okay, I'll let you off on that one. Okay, so again, here's a sci-fi with a bit of horror thrown in. The Hidden.
Oh, that's a great film. That's a
Kyle
great
MacLachlan.
Yeah.
Basically doing a prototype for his character in Twin Peaks.
Oh wait, we're talking about two different movies called The Hidden. I'm talking about the one with Alexander Skarsgård.
Is that a new one? I guess
it is a newer film. Yes.
Never heard of it.
It's a post-apocalyptic sci-fi type movie where they're in a bunker, and they after some sort of attack, and they're hiding from the people on the surface. It's really good.
I'll have to look out for that. Anyway, The Hidden is absolute 80s classic sci-fi, over-the-top, alien controlling people, and they're all like snorting cocaine, driving Ferraris, blasting guns, and listening to like hair metal.
Nice. That sounds like a blast. Please message me that so I can look it up.
Kyle MacLachlan, just look him up. And
I love Kyle MacLachlan. He's so odd.
Mm-hmm. Okay, next one is I remember watching the trailer for this and being like, "Oh my fucking god, this looks insane," and it was insane. And it's one of the movies where it's I don't know if I've ever seen a movie where I'm actually exhausted at the end from watching it because it's just nuts, and it's Hardcore Henry.
I have seen that, and that is exhausting. You're right.
Like I'm just watching. I'm like, how the fuck did they do that? How did they do this shot? It's like fucking crazy.
I just had another movie in my head, and it just went. You start talking about Hardcore Henry, and I lost it. Anyway, go ahead.
I'm surprised there hasn't been more movies in that vein, especially like action-y movies.
Yeah.
Really shocked because maybe it's just too complicated to make. I don't know. That's the only things I have for H. Again, as we go through these, some of them I'm like,
right?
Okay. I.
Well, I mean, I guess that's kind of it's sci-fi, but it's also got. I would the only one that's coming to mind is iRobot. And I'm not even that big of a fan of it.
No, it's not even that good.
What do you got?
Spencer Tracy strikes again.
Yeah.
We have the courtroom drama of Inherit the Wind
Nice.
about the Scopes Monkey trial.
Yep. I like that movie. I've seen it a few times.
It's probably my favorite courtroom drama, although up next will be another one for the next letter.
Okay.
Okay, so the Imitation Game.
Not seen it. Heard about it. That was like one of the first single shot movies, right? Like it's one continuous shot. Oh no,
No,
that's
the
Quiz Show. I'm thinking Quiz Show. Sorry.
Imitation Game is about Alan Turing
Ah, have not seen
with
that one.
Benedict Cumberbatch playing his character.
I will have to look that up. That's a good
Oh,
thing.
it's fantastic, and as we know, the history of what happened to him, absolutely devastating.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't want to bring up politics, but the same thing's happening right now
I'm not surprised.
in the U.S. Anyway.
Yes.
Okay. The Ip Man movies,
Oh, the IP Man.
specifically even Ip Man 2, I think is the best.
Is it
Uh,
IP or IP?
I think it's Ip, like,
Okay.
and I think it's like Yip, but it's Ip.
Okay.
And obviously this was a guy that apparently taught Bruce Lee a lot of it, and Donnie Yen is just fantastic. I think number 2 absolutely nails the emotional side of it, and the the Japanese invasion of China, and the effect that had, and it's just great. This next one again, it's so like close to horror. I didn't want to bring that, but I'm going to bring it up, and it's I Saw the Devil.
I have not seen it.
Hey Don, ooh, UK in the house.
Hello, Dawn. So I wanted to bring up another I that will probably, well, you probably have never heard of it, but it's probably the most emotional movie I've seen in my entire adult life.
Is it Iron Man?
It is not. It's called
Iron
It's
Man
My
2.
Party.
And you'll cry if you want to.
Yeah, no. It's My Party, starring Eric Roberts, Olivia Newton-John, Margaret Cho. It takes place in the early 80s when the AIDS epidemic first started drawing attention. And gay men, when they were diagnosed, would have suicide parties where they would throw a final party before kicking themselves off of the earth. And Eric Roberts' character gets diagnosed. He decides to throw himself a party. He has all of his friends there. And I kid you not, my mother walked in because I was making so much noise because I was ugly crying so hard in this film.
So it's like an 80s version of The Happening.
No.
Sorry.
But anyway, it is a fantastic film, and if you like drama, you should really watch it.
Okay. Yeah, well, I'll have to look that one up.
Yeah, you'll be
Anyway,
surprised by the number of cameos in that film.
so just to circle back real quick, I Saw the Devil.
Yep.
My favorite revenge movie. Nobody does revenge movies like the South Koreans.
Right.
And having the star of Old Boy be the villain of this piece, and he is just absolutely horrendous.
I've not seen Old Boy, so.
So I don't know if you want me to tell you the premise of I
You can
Saw
tell
the
me
Devil.
anything you want. You know I'm going to forget in 10 minutes. I'm almost 50.
So spoiler-ish. So basically, there's this serial killer, and he's going around just kidnapping people and killing them. He kidnaps a certain person who is the wife of this. I don't know what the equivalent in like special forces or very kind of police ops or something.
Okay.
And basically, he kills his wife. So this guy is like, okay, I'm coming after you, and this guy is fucking tough.
So it's a take.
And the serial killer is nuts. But what he does is he's like, you know what? I'm going to put a tracer on you, and he makes him like swallow it. Well, but he doesn't know that he swallowed it. So basically, he just follows him around and kicks the shit out of him, and then lets him go. and then follows him around, just kicks the shit out of him, and on for a while. But then there's a twist, and blah 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 blah.
It's sort of like a Taken ripoff.
Oh no, it's much different. Indiana Jones, obviously.
I love the first 3 Indiana Jones films.
Right. Yeah, the rest are
hot garbage. We know that.
Bringing back Sidney Poitier in the Heat of the Night.
Have not seen it.
Oh, it's awesome. It's awesome.
So I have a question then, because I have not seen it. Does it have anything to do with the late or the early 90s TV show?
I think probably.
Carol O'Connor from All in the Family. What's his name? Carol.
I mean, the premise is Sidney Poitier's down in, like, I don't know, Alabama or whatever, and he's a detective, and he has to work with a racist white detective,
and that yes, okay, same premise. Got it.
Inglourious Basterds.
Not seen it
because it's a Tarantino movie.
No, not so much. Just because it's not. I'm not a big wartime movie fan.
Oh, it's great. It's great.
Although Jojo Rabbit was kind of fun.
Yeah, I still haven't seen that.
It's very absurd, and I love absurd.
Oh yeah, I mean, with the concept that is. Okay, let me. I will be back in a second. So talk to our wonderful audience.
I will do that, Dawn. I don't know what we were talking about. So funny. You were not expecting something bad. Okay. So if anybody has not been watching very long, Mark and I are talking about our favorite non-horror films. This is a conversation Mark and I have never had in person. So I know some of his favorite non-horror films. He knows none of mine. And we're essentially just going through the alphabet. There's a thing going around on Facebook, the ABCs of Horror, where every day you post a horror movie you like, starting from A and working your way through Z. So we're going to do the same, but with non-horror films. So feel free to chime in with some of your favorites. We're up to I right now. Mark brought up Inglourious Basterds. I don't know anything about that film. I brought up It's My Party from the 90s, or early 2000s, which was one of my favorites. A few that I did not mention was for A, All Over the Boy, which is a romantic comedy, which is normally not my thing, but it's an amazing film. And then I forgot Edge of 17, which is a coming-of-age, coming-out story from over across the pond in the UK. And it's just so well done and beautiful. The soundtrack is almost exclusively the Mamas and the Papas, and I love their music. So that is something that I watch all the time. I skipped the B's, the Broken Hearts Club. I'm sure you're probably sensing a theme, but all of these are LGBTQIA movies. The Broken Hearts Club, Dean Cain, Timothy Olyphant. It's just about a group of friends in LA and the things they go through in their normal day-to-day life. And it's a beautiful and sometimes heartbreaking and sometimes gloriously funny film. I'm trying to think of others that I might have missed. Oh, Good Boy. If you want a raunchy comedy, it's a great. Or I'm sorry, not Good Boy. I'm getting my movies mixed up. Strays is a fantastic recent raunchy pet film. It's about talking dogs in the vein of Homeward Bound, but not quite the same. Oh, look, here comes Mark. Hi, Mark.
I meant to ask you, Jen, have you seen the Angelina Jolie movie Gia?
No.
Oh, I figured that would be something you would have seen.
No, but that does bring up my G film.
We're on J.
I know. One of the G's I was thinking about would be Girl Interrupted, which is a fantastic film. Speaking of Angelina Jolie, I was just recapping some of the movies I didn't mention in some of these other letters that are now coming to me. So, but I don't know that you would be interested in any of them.
So I just got a sweater that Angelina Jolie wore in Gia on screen, which I'll be selling.
Nice.
Okay.
Yay.
Go ahead.
Again, it's not a movie you can say is from my childhood. However, it brings back that nostalgia and the fun of childhood, in my opinion, and that's Jumanji. Yeah. I absolutely adore the film. It's a lot of fun. Robin Williams is in it. David Allen Greer. Um, one of the movies I absolutely adore.
Dawn, I agree. Inglorious Bastards is fantastic.
I hear that, Don. I'm not a Tarantino fan, and wartime films are not my not
Okay,
my.
okay. And let's just again for people who have just joined. Jim is not a Quentin Tarantino fan, but he's never seen one of his movies.
I did not say that. Let me look up a list of his filmography, and I will tell you what
Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction. You know, there's so many. Kill Bill.
I did like Kill Bill.
Okay, so
I
so
like
you do like Tarantino.
But I think those are the only two films I've seen. I started watching Django Unchained. I did not like it. Did not watch Inglourious Bastards. Never saw Four Rooms. Never saw Reservoir Dogs. Did not watch Jackie Brown, Planet Terror, The Hateful Eight, Hollywood. So yeah, it's just the Kill Bill films I've seen that I liked.
So even if you don't like him, you might want to watch The Hateful Eight because it's his version of The Thing.
Oh, is it really? Okay.
And Kurt Russell's in it.
Nice.
Well, it's a Western, but
yeah, and I mean, I think that's probably the same reason I didn't watch Inglourious Bastards. I'm not a Western fan. I'm sorry, not Inglourious Bastards. Django Unchained. But I'll give it a shot. Like, I'm not opposed to any of it. Hostel is a great film. Don. Anyway, Mark, what do you got next?
Okay, so funnily enough, I have another courtroom drama with Spencer Tracy.
Okay.
And this is Judgment at Nuremberg.
Oh, okay.
About the Nuremberg trials. And
yep.
It won multiple Oscars.
It did.
Right? Mm-hmm. And it's a very early role for a certain Captain Kirk.
It is.
William Shatner's in it. It's so weird. It's so weird. But Maximilian Schnell, who's a fantastic actor, he won Best Supporting Actor, and he's playing like the defense attorney for the Nazis.
Okay.
And he's just brilliant in it. He's brilliant.
Nice.
Okay. Jesus Camp, again, another terrifying documentary.
Haven't seen that one.
Going back to Harryhausen, again, another person you hate, apparently.
I don't hate him. I'm just not a fan of the stop motion thing from the early 80s.
Jason and the Argonauts.
Yeah, not.
I kind of don't want to say Jaws, but I'm saying Jaws.
That's a horror film.
Well, you know, some people will say it's not. So,
I mean, how would you not? I mean, it's a creature feature.
The same as the next one, Jurassic Park.
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of a creature feature, but it's more sci-fi, right? Because it's not naturally occurring.
Well, hang on, dinosaurs existed.
No, but not in recent years, right? It's not. They had to tinker with DNA to bring them back. Jaws, it's just a shark in the water.
Did you see it? Spookala? They have B.D. Wong and
they do. That's one of the people I want to get an autograph from.
And two of the kid actors, and I guess none of them have really done conventions. Certainly, B.D. Wong, I think it's his first.
Yep, I'm very excited about that. I will be getting B.D. Wong's signature. One of the few people at Spookala I do want that I didn't already see at Mad Monster.
John Q.
Not seen it.
With Denzel Washington.
Okay.
And it's just such a great movie about how the fucking healthcare system here just fucks people over. What somebody will do to save somebody that they love.
Yep.
Again, you said sci-fi horror, but John dies at the end. It's comedy.
That is a great film.
Love it, and the book's great too.
Yes.
John Wick. Specifically part two. Part two.
I hate those fucking movies. They are so stupid.
Are you just being a contrarian?
No, I really, really hate those films.
Why do you hate them, Jim?
The ends of the earth. I'm an animal lover, but the shit that guy goes through because of a fucking dog, no.
I'd do it. Fuck him. No, I'm sorry. If I had his skill set and somebody came in and kicked one of my dogs to death, I'd be I'd be stabbing people in the fucking eyes with pencils all over the place.
Look, your dog doesn't like me, and you don't stab me in the eye.
Well, you didn't kick my dog to death.
That's true. I did not.
If you did, I would.
Fair.
Just FYI. Journey to the Center of the Earth.
Which one?
I think there's only one.
Mm-mm. Nope, there is not, because it was remade with Brendan Fraser.
Oh, that's right. That's right. No, not that one. I didn't watch that one.
I enjoyed that one a lot.
The original Doug McClure, the prototype of William Shatner, almost. Just wacky fun.
That's fair.
Hostel,
I did not care for 3 other.
Hostel 1, yes. Hostel 2, yes. Hostel 3 was okay. But I had no real expectations for it.
Yeah, that's fair.
But I watched it and I'm like, okay, that's fine.
And we've talked about this before. I have a huge problem with Hostel 1. Huge. But I still watch the film.
What's your problem with Hostel? Oh, it's too much nudity.
No.
Female nudity.
No.
Too many boobies.
No.
Too many titties.
No.
Too many naked boobies and titties.
Why do you think I have a problem with titties? No, it's because of the homoerotic subtext they just threw in there for no reason.
Oh, just take yourself out of it for a minute.
No, it annoys me that they threw it in there and there's no purpose to it and there's no reason for it.
Well, can't that sort of thing just happen in life?
No.
What?
No.
That's never happened in life.
I don't know. I've not experienced it, so I wouldn't know.
Oh, okay. So if Jim hasn't experienced
Mark,
the thing,
shut up. I just don't think that it had a place in the film.
I think it's a very weird nitpick.
It is a weird nitpick, but I'm a weird guy.
Well, yeah. I didn't like his how they dyed his hair.
I don't think I've ever used that argument, but okay.
Yeah, no, you have, about somebody's wig or something. I don't know what it is.
You're talking about Housebound and Down, and Housebound, and I turned that into a drinking game. That's totally different.
No, it was about somebody's haircut you didn't like, and then you're like, I don't like this movie because it put it wrong.
Anyway, continue, Mark. Journey to the Center of the Earth.
That's it.
Okay. So we're on to K.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what do you got?
I have Krull.
Okay.
Krull, Jim.
Yeah,
what do you
Krull.
think of Krull?
You watched Krull. Good for you.
No. Do you like Krull?
No.
Have you seen it?
Once.
What's it about?
It's about Krull. I don't remember. I saw it once in the early early 90s, and I don't remember.
Oh, it's fantastic. It's really, kind of a hybrid of, and obviously nowhere near like the writing levels of like Lord of the Rings, but it's like the Lord of the Rings mixed with like Star Wars, mixed with, and it's got the whole hero's journey and this and that. But it's just a lot of fun.
Okay.
And yeah, so stuff is kind of grim.
Don says, "Behave nicely, boys."
Oh, Don, is this your first time with us?
I think we bickered like an old married couple, Don. It's okay. We still like each other most of the time.
Shut up, Jim. So Krull, and then again another Jean-Claude Van Damme joint with Kickboxer.
You know what? I actually really liked the Kickboxer series.
I think I've only seen the first one. The rest were like knockoffs.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's all I have for K. What do you have for K?
Knives Out is one of my most recent Ks that I enjoyed a lot. Mm-hmm. I do enjoy almost every iteration of King Kong.
Again, King Kong's kind of horror adjacent, right?
I don't know if it's horror. Well, not recently. Recently, it's more action adventure.
Well, you just talked about creature features and saying Jaws is home.
That's fair. That's fair.
What I will say, one of the most disturbing pieces, again, you gotta love Peter Jackson, although I didn't really like his King Kong movie because
Yeah, I'm not a big fan.
somebody needed to cut like at least an hour out of that movie.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's fair.
but the whole when they're being attacked by those giant insects,
I mean, I didn't mind that.
the Kong, the first of the MonsterVerse Kongs,
Yeah,
was really good, and they did shout outs to Cannibal Holocaust in it, so
yeah,
you can't get better than that.
that's fair. That's fair. I also enjoyed Kick Ass. I thought that was a fun little.
You know what? I've never seen it.
It's fun. It's not a great film. I'm not going to say that, but it's a lot of fun. And what's her name? God, I can't remember the main character's name. But she's everywhere right now. It's about a bunch of kids that want to be superheroes. Or
Right.
young
I,
and
I I know the concept around
yeah,
it,
and
but
it's done well, I think. And then, I mean, if you want to talk about movies that I have nostalgia for, the original two Karate Kid films, I liked a lot.
oh yeah, I mean, I don't want to go back and watch Karate Kid because I think if I watch it, I'll probably not like it.
Mm-hmm. Good night, Don. Thank you for joining us tonight. I appreciate it.
From dusk till dawn. From dawn till dusk. No, but I feel like I wish I didn't rewatch Ghostbusters and just left it as a happy memory.
Nostalgia. Yeah.
And I think if I watch Karate Kid, that'll maybe ruin it for me because I
Fair
think I was at the right age to watch it.
Fair enough.
Okay,
That's it. That's all I got.
Okay, L.
Yeah. So L for me is going to always be Legend. I know it's not a great film, but I absolutely love it. Tim Curry's performance is totally top notch. Some honorable mentions would be the first Lethal Weapon.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely thought it was a great film, a great buddy cop film. I also love the movie, and this is sort of horror adjacent, but it's more sci-fi, Life with Ryan Reynolds and Jake Gyllenhaal.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's what I got.
I love the ending of Life.
Yeah, I did too.
That sounded weird, but
I mean, that's
again because I like the darker endings.
Yeah, that's fair.
The only thing I thought they made the creature like too intelligent. I know that's weird because it's like an alien creature.
What was the creature's name? Do you remember?
George.
Calvin.
Oh, close.
What?
Well, they're both male names.
I mean, yeah. Okay, fair enough.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so for me, we're going back to Doug McClure again. The Land That Time Forgot.
Okay.
And these were, sometimes, Jim, I will have a little bit of nostalgia. Those were the sort of movies I remember, like if I was sick and home from school,
Yep.
and would be on the TV, and it would just be like so just takes your mind off everything. They're just so weird and wonderful. Just great movies.
Yeah, fair enough.
Okay, so here's another devastating documentary, The Last Just Man.
I don't know that one.
So this is about what's his name, like Cesar Romero or something like that. He was basically the head of the UN peacekeeping troops in Rwanda. And it's about what happened when the whole genocide stuff started happening over there.
Okay.
And he wanted to intervene. And basically, his bosses, the UN and stuff, said no. You just have to sit there and do nothing.
Right.
And he tried to kill himself because he felt so bad about it.
Yeah.
Because he just like saw all the. It's just a devastating documentary. Again, not to bring in politics or anything, but I think some people's lives seem to be more expendable than others.
Right.
When it comes to the global stage, and it's just an absolute travesty. Okay, going back to superheroes, Logan.
I mean, I liked the fact that it was darker than the other X-Men films, but I'm just, again, still just not a fan.
Logan to me is as much about Professor X
Yes,
and
agreed.
his decline, and it's just sad.
It is. It's
But
much darker in tone than most of the superhero films.
oh
And I
yeah,
did
definitely,
appreciate that.
and,
I
and they,
appreciated it, but it's just not my thing.
yeah, and the actress that plays X-23, she was fantastic in it.
Yeah, agreed.
Um, Leaving Las Vegas.
I don't think I've seen that since its premiere. That's the one with Nicolas Cage and Elizabeth Shue, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Leon,
Never saw it.
with a very, it might have been her first role
Natalie Portman.
of Natalie Portman.
Yeah.
And again, it's a what's the director's name? Begins with an L. Louise. Anyway, he's Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels.
Never seen it.
One of the best recent UK movies about gangsters in the UK with Jason Statham.
But it's not that recent, Mark.
Well, it's within the 2000s.
Yeah, I mean, but that spans 25 years, Mark.
Yeah, that's recent. We're talking
That's
about
not recent.
We're, no, we're,
There are people that lie that have not seen it.
we're talking about movies, right? That have been around for what now 150 years, maybe.
Yeah,
It's recent.
it's not recent, but
Shut your
anyway.
pie hole. Okay, M.
Quite a few. Let me pull up my list because I actually do have a list of M's. Okay, so for M, right, we're going to go with my favorite, which cemented Christian Bale as a phenomenal actor to me. The Machinist.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's on my list too.
One of his most powerful roles, and the fact that he's such a method actor, the physical transformation he went through for that film. I mean, it was absolutely amazing.
You know, he wanted to lose more weight, and the director's like, no.
Yes, I did know that.
And then he played Batman like 8 months later.
Yep, and he put back on like 100 pounds of.
Yeah, like how do you do that? I mean,
I have no idea. I would not be able to do that. So we talked about some gut punch.
Oh, I can put on 100 pounds, but I mean, losing all that.
I can do that by looking.
And then putting on 100 pounds of muscle.
Yeah. So we talked. You keep bringing up gut punch films, right? And this one got me. It probably is my favorite Sean Penn film. Milk.
I haven't seen that.
It is absolutely horrific because they do not shy away from the violence that ended Harvey Milk's life. It is quite explicitly shown on film, and it's absolutely gut-wrenching.
So I know he was killed, but so can you explain how?
Yeah, so he was shot in his office multiple times, and they do not shy away from the gore of that action. Like there's one scene where he puts his hand up to stop the guy from shooting, and they shoot off part of his hand. Like it's absolutely brutal. That ending is absolutely insane. So if you don't know who Harvey Milk was, he was a gay rights activist in the 70s in San Francisco.
I know about his character.
Yeah.
Not his character. I know about the guy, but I just didn't. You know what annoys me in movies? Especially, you could say zombie movies a lot. When people are shot, it's always like the center of their head.
Yeah, no, this is not that at all.
Like a recent one that I just rewatched was Pan's Labyrinth.
Oh God!
And they shoot him, but he gets shot here, which is like that's more realistic. Like, stop doing this whole. Maybe it's cheaper to do. I don't know, but can you just move it over and be the same effect? I don't know.
Yeah. So my last film series that I will mention is Mortal Kombat. I love all three of the films. The two from the 90s and then the remakes. I absolutely love them.
So, but Mortal Kombat 2 is just hilariously bad, right?
It is, and I love every minute of the fact that it's so terrible.
I mean, it's bad,
It is.
but it is fun bad.
Yes.
Yeah, and the new one was pretty good too. They have a couple of animated movies,
Yeah,
or a
I've not seen
few,
those.
which are pretty good. Okay, are you done?
I am. That was the end of my
All right.
list.
So, R.I.P. Gene Hackman.
Yep.
Mississippi Burning again is one of those real emotional movies.
Yep.
Not really historically accurate. I don't think it's meant to be. It's just kind of
Right.
based on a certain thing. But at that point, where Willem Dafoe, Willem Dafoe's so good in that too,
He is. He is.
and there's a point that him and Gene Hackman are fighting, and Willem Dafoe puts like a gun to his head.
Yep.
And then they like split up, and Gene Hackman's walking out. He's talking to like one of the other guys. He's like, "Do you think he would have actually shot me?" He's like, "Yeah, he would have shot me." Early role for Tobin Bell too.
Yeah.
In it, but and Brad Dourif, amazing.
Yep.
What's the actress's name? Who always reminds me of the actress from Hereditary.
She reminds you of Toni Collette.
Right. Who is the actress in Mississippi Burning?
I don't remember.
Anyway, she's really good in it too. Arlie Ermy. Great. Just everything about that movie is just fantastic. It makes you so mad at the same time. And Michael Rooker too. I mean, it's just,
Are you talking about Park Overall or Frances McDormand?
Frances McDormand.
Okay.
They both like are kind of like interchangeable for me in my head because they're both.
I mean, they're both great
actresses who are the Hollywood pretty.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay. The Martian.
You know what? I actually enjoyed that a lot more than I thought, but I'm still not a huge fan.
Yeah, I actually read. Did I read the book before or after I watched the movie? I think it was before. I just like it's so not realistic, but it's realistic enough. And Matt Damon. Hi.
Matt Damon.
Okay, are you coming in?
Is that Luna?
No, it's Rhea.
Oh, tell Rhea I said hi. She actually likes me.
Yeah, she likes everyone. Okay, just sit here. It's okay. So the machinist we talked about, Moon.
Moon. Don't know that one.
Moon is a sci-fi movie from. I should really just like look shit up and just wrote stuff down. Moon movie. Okay, so it's Duncan Jones.
Okay.
Who directed it with Sam Rockwell in it.
Love Sam Rockwell.
And it's basically about a guy who works on the moon and he's by himself.
Right.
But then something happens and he's no longer by himself. And Kevin Spacey's in it too as the voice of kind of like a HAL computer.
Okay.
It's just really good. It's just real good, nice sci-fi. Highly recommended.
Okay.
What else do I have? Again, this is horror adjacent. I don't think this is horror, but there's elements. The Mothman Prophecies.
That's a great movie. You're right. It could be sort of supernatural thriller, but it's more cryptid, so it could be creature features, kind of. But then they never really say or show like the actual cryptid, so it's sort of like it's just a legend, right? So nobody really knows if it exists or if it has any impact. It's just it's sort of always there.
And I going into it, like I kind of avoided it for a while because I thought this sounds like just
Garbage.
it. But it's actually a very serious movie,
It is, and it's great.
which is weird. It's
Yep.
it's like having a serious movie around Bigfoot or something.
Right.
Um, but it's really it actually totally surprised me.
Yeah.
The next one is Mother.
Okay.
Okay,
Hate that.
and
N. So I'm going nostalgic on this one, and I don't give a shit what you say. Neverending Story is my top movie beginning with N. It is responsible for a lot of people's childhood trauma from the 80s, but it's still a fantastic fantasy adventure that I will always watch.
you don't really get any of those. I guess like kind of CGI or like um, kind of the Toy Story as things have taken over. You don't really get any of the Jim Henson
Right.
type movies anymore. Maybe, or maybe you do, and I just haven't noticed. But
I have not seen them. The puppetry, I don't know, like large scale puppetry has kind of gone the way of the dinosaur. It's not really done. The smaller scale stuff is. I think the last big Jim Henson venture that I saw was when they did the Dark Crystal
right.
TV show for Netflix,
Oh yeah,
and it lasted one season.
and I think that was specifically designed to be the nostalgia thing, right?
Right, and it was well done, but it didn't have the same charm as the movie. But anyway, that's neither here nor there.
Rather than like a new IP with
Right,
just
exactly.
which is weird because it's aimed at kids, and I don't think kids are like
It was so that's the thing, right? The Dark Crystal initially, I know we're getting off topic here, but it was extremely dark. It
right,
was
right.
not really a kids movie. It's sort of like in the vein of
It was. They just remember growing up in the 80s,
yeah,
Gremlins and everything else. They're kids' movies. They were aimed at kid audiences. They just had dark elements to them,
they did.
which nowadays apparently you can't do because everybody will be in trauma or something. I have no idea.
Everybody goes to therapy. So my other honorable mentions for N are going to be Napoleon Dynamite,
Oh
which
yeah,
is a great comedy. And
it's
then
it's so unique,
it is
and it was
Futurama.
done like you couldn't remake that.
No,
There's no way.
right. There's too much magic there. And then the original National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, and what was the last one?
There's
European Vacation. That's the one I was missing. Yes, those were fun. I'm not so much the more recent additions to that offer.
yeah.
I did also like Now You See Me, the original, the first one. I wasn't really a fan of the second one. It's about stage magicians, and they pull up a bank heist in broad daylight, essentially.
Right. It's got Woody Harrelson, right?
It does, yes.
Yeah. It just looked dumb to me.
It's actually a lot of fun. It's not as dumb as you think. It's actually quite smart. The second one, not so much, because they just sort of recreate the first one. But anyway, that's it for me.
Okay, so can you predict what my number one Anne movie is?
No.
Because I've already talked to you about it earlier.
Yeah, nope.
And you know what it is.
I probably do, but it's escaping me right now.
It's a Ninth Configuration. Just a wonderful blend of genres.
It's
Even
wonderful.
though I don't agree with Blatty's overall message, I think just the back and forth between the religious and non-religious
Right.
elements, he's very fair, I think, at saying, hey, there's legitimate arguments that people can raise. And I kind of feel that even though he's on the side of Christianity, some of the arguments that we get back are kind of weak.
Fair.
But I could be putting my own self into it. But again, this is another movie would never ever get remade because you couldn't do it nowadays.
Right.
Robert Loggia in blackface, and there's just like no way. Okay.
Right.
You could get away with that now, and it really is just and it's a precursor to I could say that a certain movie stole the twist in this
Right.
with Shutter Island.
Again, never seen it.
Very, very similar premise. Okay, next one is a martial arts movie that's got more blood and gore than 99% of extreme horror movies.
Okay.
And this is The Night Comes for Us.
Okay.
And I saw it, I think it was on Netflix. And I wanted to get a physical copy. I couldn't get one. I had to buy one that was released in China. It's just awesome, over the top stuff. The Negotiator.
Never seen it.
Really, really good. Samuel L. Jackson, Kevin Spacey. Stuff's it's a really good thriller. Anyway,
Yeah.
Okay. Oh.
Oh. I honestly could only think of one movie starting with the letter O, and that's Office Space, which I'll watch 1,000,000 times. I don't care.
Never seen it.
Really?
It's weird. It's weird. It's like, you know me. I've watched 1,000,000 movies.
Yeah.
But there's some movies I've never seen. The Big Lebowski.
I've never seen it.
But there's some like Top Gun. Never seen Top Gun. It's just weird. I've just never seen it. And
Interesting.
okay, so Old Boy.
Never seen it.
Again, nobody does revenge like the South Koreans.
Right.
The remake with Josh Brolin
Right.
is okay, but it's not a patch on the original at all. Again, horror adjacent, Open Water.
Yeah, I mean
Is
that
it-
I probably would consider that horror myself, but
Yeah, but I mean, for some people it mightn't be, but for me it is. Uh, the very best Steven Seagal movie ever made, Out for Justice.
I don't know. I don't think any of his movies are.
Out for Justice is really good though. It's prime Steven. Like they had like Marked for Death and Out for Justice. Out for Justice is really good. Steven Seagal is a big douchebag, but it's still a really good movie.
He had to move to out of the country, right?
Huh?
So there's a reason he had to move out of the country, right?
No, he wanted to.
No, I don't think. I disagree, but anyway, continue.
Well, what reason that he had to? You're saying that like there was something nefarious.
There might have been.
Like
But-
what?
Let's continue, Mark. Go on.
No, I'm
wait.
interested now.
Come on. What else you got?
No, because I've never heard anything nefarious. I'd be interested to hear it.
Well, we'll talk about it afterwards.
Okay. Just bring up your sources and then we'll talk about it.
Yep.
Okay. Another older movie. It's The Old Man and the Sea.
That I've seen once. So
It's Ernest Hemingway. And it's a very contemplative, interesting movie for me. Okay, Jack Nicholson
okay.
in
Mark,
yes,
You want to talk about Steven Seagal, right?
sure.
So he moved to Russia actually to escape being fined by the U.S. government.
Oh yeah. Well, no, I know he moved to Russia.
That's nefarious. Additionally, he also has
but
multiple
charged for
women
what,
that have-
like tax evasion or some shit.
yeah, and then he also has multiple allegations of SA against women.
Nah, I haven't heard of that, but wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah. Anyway,
Okay, Jack Nicholson in
about Jack.
and Brad Dourif in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
We talked about that a little bit earlier.
Did we?
We did. I don't remember why, but the topic came up.
Earlier this episode or earlier? No, we didn't. Am I losing my mind, Jim?
Oh no, you know what? I'm sorry. I always run that and Clockwork Orange together. Sorry, I apologize. That's me.
I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Am I getting dementia? Well, maybe.
We are at that age, Mark.
So One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, just again, probably Nicholson best role.
Yep.
And he really suits the character, kind of that over the top. The craziness makes sense.
Yeah.
For that. Okay, P.
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 So I don't want to just talk about nostalgia for this one, but I'm going to start with I love the Police Academy films.
You realize since I brought up how many of these are nostalgia, that you qualify now every single one that you're saying
I
about
do.
nostalgia.
Yep. So I do love the first 4 of the Police Academy films. I
Okay.
thought were a lot of fun. I do also actually enjoy all of the Pirates of the Caribbean films. But if we're going to go horror adjacent, Predators is probably my favorite. I thought that was a really, really fun.
Whoa, 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 whoa. I know it's all subjective.
Mhm.
Are you saying that Predators would be your pick above Predator?
Yes.
Are you insane?
No.
Is your mom there?
She's out in the porch, yeah.
I just want to ask how many times she dropped you on your head as a baby.
Hey, it is what it is, Mark.
Good luck to you. Now, I like Predators, by the way. I do enjoy it, but in fact, I like all the Predator movies, even the Predator, which everyone hates.
Yep.
Just because I understand that it's gone to like silly areas. It's like it's not serious anymore.
Yep.
Like, okay, that's fine. Anything else?
Nope.
Okay. So my pick is Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Oh, it's a great pick.
Again, I'm very weird with comedy. That one just gets me every time.
Mhm.
More so than any of the Home Alone or National Lampoon stuff.
Sure.
It, it it's just the right balance of over the top and kind of like very sweet
Mhm.
stuff. And John Candy and what's his face, Steve
Steve
Martin,
Martin.
just play so well together.
Yep.
And like the whole airport scene, or sorry, when he's getting the rental car, it just cracks me up so
It
much.
does. I'm a
Um,
huge Steve Martin fan.
I think
Roxanne,
he,
the Jerk, the
I
Man with Two
think
Brains.
yeah, I think he's very likable and he can rein it in when he needs to,
Yes.
but he can be like over the top goofy, and
Yep.
it works both ways.
Agreed.
So next up is obviously the Oscar-winning performance of George C. Scott, which is Patton.
Okay.
What do you think of Patton?
Never seen it.
I'm not shocked. Horror adjacent again. Phase 4
Never heard about it.
about killer ants. Well, basically, it's ants that become super intelligent, but they're actual ants. They're not like
Okay.
big monster things, and it's a great sci-fi '70s movie, which you should check out.
Hey, Mark,
It
I'm going to pause for 1 second. Okay.
okay. I'll be back too.
Where did Mark go? Sorry about that, guys. I had a call from my elderly cousin. We have to do his eye drops every day. Mark, you coming back? There he is. Welcome back.
Okay.
Where were we?
P.
I did all mine.
Parasite.
That's horror.
No, it's not. I'm talking about the South Korean Oscar winner from like a few years ago.
Yeah?
That's not a horror movie.
I'm going to challenge you on that one, sir.
Have you seen it?
No.
So how are you challenging me on it?
Just because I've not seen it, so I have no basis for context on that one. Go ahead.
So you haven't seen Patton?
Nope.
Is that a horror?
No.
Are you going to challenge me on that?
No, because it's not a horror film.
Phase 4, is that a horror movie?
I've never seen it. I don't know.
Parasite?
It's a thriller comedy, is how it's classified.
So you're wrong.
I am wrong.
Okay.
I'm not telling you I'm not wrong.
So why did you challenge it?
Because, Mark, I like to challenge you. That's why I'm here.
Yeah, that's true. Obviously, we have my prop here from Pandoran.
You say so? I said, if you say so.
Yes, don't you see it?
I do.
Wonderful sci-fi movie with some horror-ish elements to it. The Poseidon Adventure.
Oh, I love that. The original with
Yeah.
Shelley Winters is fantastic, and Ernest Borgnine.
Yeah, it's funny that Hollywood does these sort of during this year to this year. We're going to do a whole bunch of disaster movies.
Mm-hmm.
Planet of the Apes, the original.
Not a fan, but okay.
Never
been a real big fan of Charlton Heston.
Charlton Heston. I'm not going to say he was kind of one note. He was a little one note, but I think they cast him in a lot of roles that were kind of similar.
Yeah.
The Protector.
Never heard of it.
Again, one of those kind of like hits me in the feels, and it's a martial arts movie. But it's really sad and aggravating, and then it's like, oh yeah, you're gonna get fucked up now.
Yep.
This one, it really is, if you ask me, an exploitation horror. But it's, I love that they kept it with subtitles, and I love the cinematography and everything else. And it's Mel Gibson's The Passion of the Christ.
I actually really love that film.
Yep, but it really is an exploitation.
It is
torture movie.
Yes, it is. I agree.
Even though he's totally anti-Semitic, but whatever.
And Jim Caviezel is just as crazy, apparently. But I used to love him. I thought he was great.
He became crazy.
Yeah.
Him and Gibson are like two peas in a pod now.
Yep.
Although, funnily enough, he was struck by lightning during the movie. Maybe that's got something to do with it.
Maybe.
Okay, that's all I have for P.
Okay, I have literally nothing for the letter Q.
So again, going back to my sci-fi, and I've talked about this a lot, so I won't talk about it
You.
anymore. Quatermass in the Pit.
Yeah.
Um, my other one that I came up with was Sam Raimi's The Quick and the Dead with
Not familiar.
Sharon Stone.
Yep.
You like that one?
I've not seen it. I know of it, but I've not seen it.
Okay, because it's a western.
Pretty much.
Okay, R.
R. Oh boy. I'm not gonna obviously go with Romulus. I'm gonna have to go with a comedy from the early 2000s, maybe late 90s actually. Romeo and Michelle's High School Reunion.
I feel we don't have a lot of similar likes outside of horror.
You're right. I
And
mean,
even
even
inside of
inside of
horror.
horror, we don't have a whole lot of likes that are similar. But
Yeah, I just wouldn't. It's not my bag, baby.
obviously, what do you have?
So so I could kind of like smudge it a little bit and say Raiders of the Lost Ark, but
Yeah,
we already
no,
brought.
you're not doing that.
But we already brought up. I already brought up Indiana Jones.
Yeah, you did.
So I will say RoboCop.
That's fair. I mean, it's okay. It was never one of my favorites, but Peter Weller and Nancy Thompson were amazing in that movie. Or Nancy Thompson.
Alan.
Jesus. Alan, thank you. We're fantastic in that film.
And I actually really, I almost prefer the sequel, which a lot of people would not agree with me on. But
Fair enough.
I think the first one is the setup,
Mm-hmm.
and then the next one is we already have RoboCop,
Right.
and now he's fucking up shit.
Right.
The first Rocky movie
Okay.
is again fantastic, and it's very interesting story. Talk about Stallone again.
Yeah.
He was destitute when he wrote Rocky. Like he was basically living on the street.
Hey, Mark, do you know what else happened the year Rocky was written?
What?
I was born.
Well, moving on to better news. So Rocky. So yeah, basically he was destitute, and he put the screenplay around,
Yep.
and he really wanted to direct it, and he had like studios offering him, "Hey, we'll give you this right now," and like he was like, "Nope, nope, nope. I'm going to direct this, and I'm going to star in this," and eventually got his way and made him a superstar.
Yeah, it did.
So going back to martial arts again, we have both of the Raid movies.
Don't know those.
These are Indonesian martial arts movies, and they are fantastic. Runaway Jury, going again to my jury thing.
You have a weird thing with juries, Mark.
I
I almost feel like you have wet dreams when you get summoned for jury duty.
I've only been given like one jury notice, and I didn't even make it through the process, so I couldn't even go on the jury.
Same.
And another martial arts movie, Re-Kill, which is awesome too.
Fair enough.
S.
I have a whole lot of S's on my list. So I liked. Well, I guess that's horror, so we can't go with that one. God damn it! So much horror. Mm-hmm. So many of my favorite films are horror.
That's what I mean. It's weird. It's hard to like come up with like on the top of your head.
So we have to talk about then one of my favorite comedies. Then I guess it's satirical more than it is a comedy. Saved with Mandy Moore and Jenna Malone.
Again, we run.
So Mark, you would love this film. You should watch it.
But it's a teenage comedy thing, right?
So it's about a girl who gets pregnant in a Catholic high school.
That's against the rules, Jim. I don't like movies that break the rules.
That's the point.
No. That sounds very anti-God.
Let's see, what else do I have on my little list here? So I should not even say this because it's going to do nothing but give Mark fodder to attack me.
Okay, cool.
Spice World. I was a huge Spice Girls fan.
So, who's your favorite?
Baby Spice.
I thought I was going to say Baby Spice for you.
It's either Baby Spice or Ginger. I loved them both. Then we'll go with Stand By Me, another one of my favorites. I thought it was great.
Mhm.
And my favorite horror movie, or not horror movie, sorry, fantasy movie with some horror elements, I guess. But mostly I watched it because of Michelle Pfeiffer and it turned out to be a great movie, is Stardust.
Not seen it.
We argued about this because I didn't know Henry Cavill was in it.
I've not seen it, so I don't know why we'd be arguing.
Okay. Continue, Mark, your turn.
Okay. Again, Jim, you've probably not seen this because you don't like war movies, but perhaps the pinnacle, especially the opening scene, is Saving Private Ryan.
I've seen the some of it, not the whole movie.
Yeah, I think there's certain parts of it where it's I would have cut it and just moved on to the more interesting stuff. But it is phenomenal. Just that even that opening scene, it would be top of my list.
Given your proclivity for wartime films, I'm surprised when we did P, you didn't mention Pearl Harbor.
Never seen it.
Really?
Never want to.
Okay.
Just because I heard it was like a lot of Ben Affleck romance crap in it.
There is, yeah.
And I'm not an American, so the whole Pearl Harbor thing doesn't really.
Yeah, but I know you appreciate wartime
I
history. You appreciate military history, so I thought you would enjoy that.
Yeah, isn't Roland Emmerich?
I think so.
Yeah, that kind of put me off too. Not that he hasn't made good kind of disaster movies, but he's made some terrible ones.
That's fair.
Moonfall. It's fucking awful.
Never seen it.
Okay. Going back to the MCU.
Yep.
Spider-Man: No Way Home.
Right.
Which although we all kind of guessed that the Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire would be back.
Yep.
It just seeing them come on screen and Andrew Garfield again. There's a scene in it which just makes you tear up because he sells it so well. It's just great. Sisu.
Have not seen that one yet.
Yeah, again, it's kind of a war movie, but it's like I talked about it in previous podcasts, so I won't. Superman 1 and 2.
Okay.
The original Superman movies. Yep. Although Superman 3 is objectively really bad.
I don't know that I think it's bad though. I liked it.
Objectively, I think it is bad. But growing up watching it, it was fun, and her turning into like the robot thing is kind of creepy too.
Fair enough.
But Richard Pryor's great in it. It's more of a comedy than anything. So,
you're right.
Loses some points. Talking about Saving Private Ryan, another Spielberg war movie, Schindler's List.
Never seen it.
Devastating because of the subject matter.
Yeah.
I mean, concentration camps. Ralph Fiennes is absolutely terrifying in it. Liam Neeson, good old Northern Irishman, is just wonderful. Ben Kingsley, just great in it. And, just horrific and wonderful at the same time. This is probably more horror, but I'll just bring up Silence of the Lambs.
I don't know. That's more psychological thriller, I think, than it is horror.
Again,
Red Dragon, and what was the other one?
Hannibal.
I think lean more into the horror side than Silence of the Lambs.
I was just trying with this list to not bring up too many of these ones.
Yeah, that's fair.
There's Something About Mary. I know it's T, but
that's a great movie.
Um, Again, the Farrelly brothers are pretty great. And that's it for S for me.
Okay. Then we go on
T.
to T. Yep. So you want me to go first?
Yep.
So I loved the first two Taken films, right? I thought they were great. I loved Tango and Cash.
Mm-hmm.
I loved, so this is sort of horror adjacent, but it's more thriller in my opinion. Teaching Mrs. Tingle. That is a Kitty Holmes and her high school have decided that they're going to murder their teacher, but she sort of turns the table on them.
You like a lot of like high school teenage movies.
I was just out of high school when the film came out, so I could still relate to that age group.
I'm just saying you like a lot of high school
I mean,
movies. It's weird.
fair
But
enough.
you like. I mean, you like.
Yeah, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle films from the '90s. I love them.
Vanilla Ice. Yeah.
Yep,
Mm-hmm.
loved it. And then there's a movie with Zelda Rubinstein called Teen Witch, which I absolutely love. But that's all nostalgia because it probably would be extremely problematic by today's standards.
I don't care about problematic.
Yeah, but I think that's all I can. That's all I have off the top of my head.
I've kind of got like a four-way tie. Taxi Driver.
Okay.
They Live. The Terminator. And Total Recall.
Okay. Those are off there.
Yeah, and I love each of them, and obviously They Live, Total Recall, and Terminator are more the sci-fi side, and Taxi Drivers definitely not. Like Taxi Driver is just such a crazy movie. Like, have you seen Taxi Driver?
I have.
It's just such a crazy movie. Like
It is.
he's like dating Sybil Shepherd, and is for the first because he's so like fucking out of it.
Yep.
He's like, I'm going to take you on a date. Oh, we're going to go see a movie. He takes her to a porno theater. It's like, what the fuck is going on here?
Right.
And again, De Niro's is fantastic. Harvey Keitel.
Yep. And Jodie Foster.
And Jodie Foster, yes. So that's all. Again, my list gets kind of shorter the more we go on.
Well,
so that's.
If it makes you feel any better, I have nothing for the letter U.
Okay, so you don't like westerns?
No.
But
I'm not a fan of the Untouchables. Like there's nothing.
The Untouchables isn't a western.
No, but I'm saying I'm not. It's a mob movie that I'm not a fan of. So I really have nothing for the letter V.
You mean?
I mean you. Sorry. Yes, you.
Okay. So if there was one, you talk about Sergio Leone and The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, or whatever. But if I was to recommend a western to anybody, it would be Clint Eastwood's Unforgiven.
Okay.
Which is again one of my favorite revenge movies.
Yeah.
And you got Gene Hackman in there. You have Shawshank Redemption. We would just talk about him. No.
Morgan Freeman.
Just great actors. Just beautiful looking movie. And it's just fantastic. Unforgiven is one of my favorite movies. Next one, again, horror is probably, it's Lovecraftian horror, and I know you hate it, but it's Underwater.
Yep, hated it. Well, absolutely. I take that back. I liked it until the Lovecraftian elements were involved. No, I strike that. Reverse it. I did not like it until the Lovecraftian stuff was involved.
Well, it's just a disaster movie, right? Half of it's a disaster movie, and then the second half is Lovecraftian weird alien stuff.
Yep.
Next one, another Jean-Claude Van Damme movie, Universal Soldier.
Okay.
And I'll even say Universal Soldier 4 with Scott Adkins in it. too, because it is just like bonkers. It's just so crazy. Okay, that's all I had for you. V.
Oh, this one's rough too. I don't know. The closer we get to the end of the alphabet, the more trouble I'm having. So
Right.
I actually looked this up, and everything that I like, with the exception of Volcano, is horror.
So do you want me to go?
Yes.
Okay, this is one that legitimately makes me tear up, and it's such a good movie.
If you say
And
the Virgin Suicides, I'm gonna shoot you.
it's V for Vendetta.
Okay, never seen it.
You should watch. I mean,
It's
it's
Guy
fun,
Fawkes,
huh?
the guy that wears the Guy Fawkes mask, right?
Right,
Yeah.
but it's so much. It's so layered, and there's a certain scene where somebody's reading a note from somebody, and it's just heartbreaking, heartbreaking. You should definitely watch it.
Okay.
Videodrome,
Never
is
seen
that
it.
a horror? It's probably horror, but
Kinda.
you know, it's definitely, as far as Cronenberg, leans more in the sci-fi side.
Yep.
So I just threw it in there. And Vertigo.
That's a good one. I hadn't thought about that one. Yeah.
Hmm. Okay. Next up.
So we're going to W now.
Yep.
It's going to be another kids movie that was absolutely traumatizing. Watership Down.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't watch that again.
Yeah, that's rough.
It's just too sad. I don't
Yes.
like sad things.
Anyway, what do you got?
Okay, so we talked about V for Vendetta, and
Mhm.
funnily enough, the next one is also written are based from the same um, comic book writer,
Yep.
Alan Moore, and this is Zack Snyder's Watchmen.
Not seen it.
It's funny because they kind of dramatically change a part of it,
Okay.
but it's for the same result, and it makes more sense. So I don't even mind. I think it's better. It's a better idea than the comic book that it was based on.
Right.
Again, Watchmen is a deconstruction. It's the boys before the boys,
Right.
and it really deconstructs a lot of the superhero tropes. And you know, they're not all shiny, clean, and nice people. And it's just fantastic. Um, Willy Wonka, the original.
Yeah. I mean I do enjoy it, but it's not something I watch all the time.
It's as much for Gene Wilder's performance than
Yes.
anything.
Agreed.
He is just absolutely magnetic on screen.
Yep.
Like every scene he's in, he's just so good.
Agreed.
The original War of the Worlds,
Okay.
again, one of the seminal sci-fi movies.
Fair enough.
H.G. Wells, fantastic. And here we're going even further back in time to a comedy duo, which I've loved since I was a kid, and that's Laurel and Hardy,
Hmm.
and perhaps their most famous, probably their best movie. I know they've done a lot of shorts, but Way Out West.
Never heard of it.
It's fantastic.
Can you say so?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, X. Jim?
The only thing I got is the X Files. I was a huge fan, and the movie did not disappoint.
Are you talking about the first one or the second one?
The first one.
Yeah, I have the first one on my list too. The second one was very weird.
It was.
Like the whole pedophile thing and stuff is very strange.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think they did a really good job in the first one of, and sometimes it happens where you have a TV series and then they make a movie from it.
Yep.
And sometimes a movie just seems like a couple of episodes put together.
Yeah, but this
Well,
one.
I think the first movie is its own thing, and I think it's really good.
Agreed.
For me, X-Men 2, which is probably one of the best superhero movies again ever made, and it kind of was the dawn of them becoming a big thing.
Yep.
I could talk about all their X-Men movies. It's X, but we'll just stick with X-Men 2 for right now.
Fair enough.
Why?
Why?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go with actually a movie that I actually forgot about that I thought was really great. I have three actually for this. Young Einstein with Yahoo Serious. I absolutely loved that movie, and I don't know why. Like I'm not saying in any way, shape, or form it was great, but for whatever reason, at the point in my life that I saw it, it just really hit well with me, and I loved it. Then we have Young Frankenstein with Gene Wilder, Terry Garr, and then Young Guns, one of the only westerns that I really liked.
How about Young Guns 2?
Not a fan.
Younger Guns. Youngest Guns.
Youngest Guns.
Yeah, that was a whole Brat Pack, right? That
Yeah,
was
it was part of the Brat Pack.
Flatliners and things like that.
Yes.
The only one I had was Young Frankenstein, which is just, again, you brought it up. It's a great movie. Mel Brooks.
It is.
Top form. Okay.
What do you got for Z?
I have two movies, and one is, probably horror-ish, and it's Zodiac.
Yep, great film.
The only other one that I could think of was the Sean Connery vehicle Zardoz.
Everybody loves that red swimsuit.
Yeah, the red, weird thing.
I actually have two. One is a board game themed film again, Zathura.
Okay, that's the Jumanji
in space. One, right? Yes. And then the other one is a Scott Baio vehicle from the late 80s, early 90s, Zapped.
Never heard of it.
It's your typical a kid gets electrocuted and gets special powers. And he's just a high school kid, so he's obsessed with tits and ass, so he makes somebody's boobs grow. Just little stupid stuff like that. But, he realizes through it all, he just wants the girl next door or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's a movie I saw at the right time in my life, and it just hit well for me.
Okay, so as far as lessons learned, Jim,
yes, Mark.
I've learned that you like high school comedies.
Yeah.
And that's it.
I mean, if that's what you want to take away from this conversation, I appreciate that, Mark.
You take away what you put in.
I know exactly what I like about or what I think about your movie choices, and it just sort of is what it is. Nothing that you mentioned today was a surprise for me.
Because they're all, interesting, well-made, crafted movies. Yes.
No, they're all military or Western.
No.
Or horror adjacent.
No. You forgot about the courtroom dramas.
I did forget about the courtroom dramas. Anyway, if anybody's still sticking around, thank you for hanging out for this 2-hour conversation. I appreciate it.
Before we go,
yes.
I haven't watched much, but I've watched the new Daredevil.
Oh, and
series. It's weird because it moved from Netflix over to Disney, right?
Okay.
It feels kind of cheap.
Does it?
Like compared to the Netflix one? Yeah.
Do you know that he was the most expensive autograph at Mad Monster?
Yeah, and he's going to Spookala too, and he's the most expensive there as well.
Yeah.
But
you know who was great is Eldon, the guy that's in the show with him, Eldon.
Yeah, the guy that plays Foggy.
Yeah, he was actually really great, and relatively inexpensive. And the two guys that I hung out with, huge fans of him.
And he was in Idle Hands.
Yep.
Which is a really I must watch that again.
Never seen it.
I loved watching that back in the day.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it in forever. But yeah, the new Daredevil, it's weird. It's like Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio.
Yep.
Whenever they're talking, is just fantastic. Everything else seems like padding. There seems to be a lot of padding so far in the first 3 episodes. And it's weird because, talking about courtroom dramas. So I actually really, really like the last episode.
Yeah.
Because it was just all set in the courtroom. There was no Daredevil at all.
Oh,
And
okay.
I know in the comics sometimes they did that where it was just more focused on Matt Murdock,
Right.
the lawyer. Then so I don't mind them doing it, but I hope it starts to like it feels like we're just waiting for something to really start happening.
Yeah.
Um, Otherwise, the cast's good. It's shot well, but they had some CGI, especially in the first episode, and it's like that doesn't look good.
Right.
like, like, what are you doing? This is like a major IP, really. I mean,
Yeah.
since it was very popular on Netflix, so and they're
I
they're wanting to put them in
I
into
have not
more.
watched anything new, Mark. I have been rewatching, so I got the entire He-Man and the Masters of the Universe cartoon series on DVD. So I've been watching
Oh,
that. I also got The Fog in 4K and My Bloody Valentine in 4K.
yes, the original. I take it.
Yes.
Yes. Well, again, I don't like slasher, but I really like My Bloody Valentine. I
I
love the
gotta I
whole.
gotta show you something. Hang on, that I got at Mad Monster. So I met Tom Cowpert, super great guy, but I got him to sign this. It's a print of artwork that was made, and it's the Miner, but it's all made out of coffee stains.
Oh, that's a mess.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah. Um.
My mother says she was reading it. She's like, "Be mine. Is he gay?" I said, "No, mom. He was in a movie called My Bloody Valentine. He's feeding into it." She's like, "Why does it say be mine?" Valentine, mom. It's My Bloody Valentine.
Oh. Oh, your mom.
I know.
Um. Oh, the other thing, is randomly like I watch YouTube and somebody brought up a from the director of Akira. I guess they made this movie called Memories, which is like three short stories, all
Okay.
animated. But the first one's called Magnetic Rose, and it's on like Amazon for free.
Yeah.
Which I just watched that first part of this 3-part short story movie.
Right.
Very very interesting. It's about it's weirdly. I don't know when it was made. I assume it was made like quite a while ago. It's about this spacecraft who hears an SOS.
Okay.
They go out to check it out, and there's all this debris of something, and a couple of the guys go in and start searching. But whenever they go in, it's like this grand, like estate palace type thing.
Hmm.
With like pianos and decorations and all this sort of stuff. So it's a weird kind of sci-fi horror,
Right.
but it's really interesting. I really liked it. It's
Okay.
called yeah,
Are you looking
Magnetic.
forward to the new season of Black Mirror?
Um, I still have to catch up to the last one. Black Mirror is something which I kind of like dip in and
Yeah,
out
me
of.
too.
So I can't say that I sit and watch religiously each season one by one, and then I'm done. Sometimes they just get, you come into one that's kind of like, eh.
That's fair.
Okay, give it a break for a little bit.
Well, anything else you want to talk about, Mark?
Did I watch anything else? I don't think I did, but let me just check. Nope, I already talked about the coffee table.
I have it on DVD and I still have not watched it yet.
Yeah, it's definitely worth watching. It's
Yeah,
very good.
fair enough. Okay, well, for anybody that has been paying attention or watching this long, thank you very much. We will talk to you guys again soon.